Everybody was tricked about that place anyway, because it doesn't sound like it's a hospice. It sounds like a hospital. And then you get there and it's a hospice. Pat did that, okay?
It is, it's sad. If any one of them had a child that was in the hospital like that, there's no way they would want that to, right.
To save
You're gonna
your
do
child.
everything in your power to save your child.
Put them to sleep is never an option, especially when you have a situation of hope.
Right.
With a Dr. Jolly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what he can do.
When Bobby Christina Brown was in a coma, it was actually her father, Bobby Brown, who wanted to bring in this Dr. Jolly, and who's actually a spiritual healer.
The Houston family, they were at wit's end. You know, Bobby Christina is in a hospital. She's still breathing. You know, it's easy for us to look at and say, you know, hey, she's brain dead, pull the plug, do whatever, you know. But for a family, any family, you know, it's hope against hope, to the point where, you know, the Houston family brought in some sort of holistic doctor, you know, who actually got Bobby Christina to respond for a second, or to appear to respond.
I prayed for 6 months to go help Bobby Christina Brown. I knew no one. I did not know anyone, but I just would pray. Bobby called, he contacted me and gave me the permission to go and help his daughter.
This was somebody that came in and said, you know, that he had this big couple of gallons of juice and was going to try to heal this child. And he said, no, she's not in a coma. Even like medically, she's in a coma. And Dr. Jolie said, no, that's not a coma. She's got life in her, and we're gonna heal her from the inside and the outside.
Pat Houston and a couple of her family members told Bobby, no, he can't come in. So they started screaming and shouting, he can't go in, he can't go in. No, they put up a big fight. And so the security guys at the door of Bobby Christina's room door, they told Pat Houston that if Bobby Brown, the father, wants to bring his own guest in, he could do it, regardless of what the list was. Pat Houston and her family got very upset because the security overrode her decision, and they allowed me to come into the room. When I went into the room, the first thing I noticed that she was lying in a bed with nothing connected to her. I've never been in a hospital, seen a person just receiving nothing, no IV, no food, just nothing. It kind of blew my mind for a moment, okay? So after viewing that, I told Bobby, I said, well, I'd like to get started.
It felt horrible, man, looking at her like that, you know, especially in the hospice. And then on top of the fact that everyone's just acting weird and funny, and like, this is serious. Like, why? It was just a lot of bad vibes from everybody, such as Pat and, you know, that side. Acting funny about us trying to go see Chrissy or being there, like we shouldn't be there or something like that. And it's like, y'all are treating us like outsiders, like we're close with her. Like, you can't treat us like that. You know, they didn't really want us around like that. You could tell. They would never directly say it, but you can tell. And I didn't like that. Especially during a hard time like that, with her being like that, and she needs support.
When I got there, it was a matter of me dealing with a person that I knew had been struck upside the head. She'd been beat, and the family was expecting her to die.
The world thinks Chrissy was in a coma. No, she was not. Chrissy was wide awoke. Her eyes were open every single day. She was communicating back and forth with us, and she knew what was going on around her. And he said when she saw Pat, she said, Bobby Christina started doing this. He said the closer Pat got to Chrissy, the louder she moaned.
She was trying to tell Bobby Brown everything, but she could not get it out. She could not get it out. Now, when this was happening, all of a sudden, Pat Houston walked into the room. When Pat Houston walked into the room, she walked close to Bobby Christina. When she was about 6 feet away from Bobby Christina started growling like a pit bull. She went like, she came up with strength out of nowhere. There was something about Pat Houston that only Bobby Christina knew.
While most of the family was, holding out with hope against hope that a miracle might happen and Bobby Christina would just snap out of it, at the same time, the reality started to sink in.
They starved her to death. That was so sad because
I feel like she didn't have to die.
she didn't have to die. She did not have to die. The doctors told us
They wanted her to die.
that she would be fine. The doctor said, give it 6 months, she's getting better. I did things with Chrissy. I did pressure points and different things, and Chrissy's eyes were opening and she was responding to everything that I did.
None of these people, Pat, this lady attorney, they don't care about Chrissy's life.
I know they don't.
All they cared about was the money. They
money.
wanted money. They didn't care about Auntie
It's all
Whitney.
about,
They just wanted the money.
it's about that money.
Yep.
Get them out the way. Get
Everything
the
is
money.
about the money.
It's all about money. Root to all evil.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
That's why Dr. Jolly said, if you allow this baby, this precious baby to die, he said, Pat, you will never sleep. You will never, God will not let you rest. Do not do this to this baby girl. And she did it anyway.
The situation got to a point where there was a final decision made. And the doctors said to me one thing. They said by the Georgia state law, if Pat Houston and Bobby Brown both agree, they said, Dr. Jolly Harris, you can continue. They asked Pat Houston, what's your decision? Pat Houston says, my decision is to let her peacefully pass away. She said, my reason for saying this is because I know her. Pat Houston said that I know Chrissy better than anyone. She said she would not want to live if she could not sing and dance. She would not want to live if she knew she was going to be paraplegic or left in a bed in the hospital for the rest of her life. She said she would not want to live. That's the exact words Pat said.
Hard decisions, obviously, to be made when somebody is in a vegetative state. The hospitals and the doctors look for brain activity, whether or not this person has any real, possibility of ever coming back and having anything like a normal type of life. But the main thing is brain activity. But there are other factors. They're looking whether or not the organs are shutting down, what pain the person is in, etc.
I was not allowed to finish what I came there to do. Pat Houston is the person that I say put the nail in the coffin. She put the nail in the coffin by telling these people to let Bobby Christina die.
They was plotting to just destroy Chrissy. This is what it's all about. This is why Whitney died. This is why Bobby Christina died. Because those close to Whitney want her money.